Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me. Today I thought I would share with you guys my signed book collection. Now, for the most part, I didn't get to meet these authors, but there have been times when you can purchase signed books, and I always opt for that option if I see it and it's a book that I may want to read or a book that I've been really keen to read. So a lot of these I acquired through Booktopia when they had promotional deals for signed books. I did get to meet a couple of the authors. And some have actually been sent to me for review that have been signed, and I won a couple through some giveaways. So let's just get right into it. First we have The Underground Storyteller by Alex Day, and this was actually part of the first print run where he had 1,000 books, so that's why it's numbered. So I got book 107, 146, and it is signed by him. I really liked this book. I know a lot of people have very strong opinions about the author himself, but I really wanted to get this book before all of the stuff happened, and when he was still releasing it, I still really wanted to read it because I like anything to do with England and history, and I still really liked Alex's style of writing, so please don't hate me because I like this book. Next we have Mean Street's Kind Heart, the Father Chris Riley story by Sue Williams, and I didn't actually get this signed by Sue Williams, which it's not like and while I didn't get this actually signed by Sue Williams, I did get it signed by Father Chris Riley because I've met him 2 or 3 times, listened to him speak, and he's really interesting to listen to, and he was signing books, so he even dedicated it to me. It's Victoria, Every Blessing, Father Chris Riley. So I still have not read this book. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but it should be a really interesting read when I do. Next 3 books are ones that I have recently acquired, and you will have probably already seen them in my recent book haul. Is it up yet? It will be up yet. In my recent book haul, and that is the Passage series by Justin Cronin, and this was run, I got these through a giveaway run by Hatchet Australia, and all three books are signed by him. And where are we? So it's really good when you obviously just able to get one signed book, but to get a whole series signed, that is amazing. And these are a great addition to my collection. Next book is Illuminated by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I got this one through Booktopia last year when they had, I think it was a pre-order deal, or just after it was released, they had signed copies available, and I picked it up, and I'm so glad I got the signed one because I love this book so much. It's so nice to have a signed copy. So it is signed by both authors, and I actually have pre-ordered Gemini, which I am desperately waiting for it to arrive. It doesn't come out here in Australia until the 26th, and Booktopia again running signed pre-orders, so I'm so excited that that one's going to be signed as well, and hopefully when the 3rd one comes out, Booktopia does the same thing, and I'm going to try and get it because that'll be just really good to have this amazing trilogy all signed by both authors. Speaking of Jay Kristoff, I've actually been lucky enough to meet him. I'll insert a picture here, and I actually got Nevernight signed by him. This is the first book in his new trilogy. I think it's a trilogy, the Nevernight trilogy, and so it says For Victoria Never Forget, and signed by Jay. It was so exciting. It was so fun to go to the Melbourne launch for this book. I didn't stay very long because we had to actually go to a Harry Potter party at a nightclub. I'll link below to the vlog for that, but yeah, it was so great to meet Jay and so great to get this book signed, and I'm still reading this. I put this down and I'm halfway through. I really need to finish it because I've heard amazing things and I've enjoyed the first half, so hopefully I'm going to finish this before the end of the year. Another book I got signed through Booktopia is My Sister Rosa by Justine Labaletstia. This book still has not come out in the US yet, so I think it's only come out in Australia, and I was eyeing this off, and then I saw that it was coming, you could order it signed, and I was like, that's a good opportunity to get it. So there is her squiggle there. This is one that I still have not read, but it's about this like girl Rosa who is kind of a psychopath, and it follows the family moving from Australia to New York, yeah, and how Chi, her older brother, has to try and keep her, keep an eye on her so she doesn't go all psychotic. And I've heard really great things about this as well, so hopefully I will get to it soon. Again, another Booktopia signed find, and this was another pre-order that came signed, and that is Magnus Chase in the Sort of Summer by Rick Riordan, which is right there. And actually when I showed my dad when this arrived last year, he was like, anyone could have done that, and I was like, no, Rick Riordan did it. So I still have not read this yet, but obviously because I wanted to read all of Rick Riordan's work kind of in order that he released the series sort of thing. I at least want to finish Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus before I dive on into this, but yeah, I'm excited to have this signed edition, especially because I've been loving the Percy Jackson series and I just think Rick Riordan is going to be one of my favourite authors, so to have a signed book, even though I haven't met him, which I think is going to be kind of hard because I don't even think he's ever come to Australia, it's just still really great to have this in my collection. These next two books were signed through Our Crate. Technically they're signed book plates, but the book plates are in the books, so I'm counting that as a signed book. And the first one is Three Dark Crowns by Ken Dare Blake. And apart from having a letter from her, there is the signed book plate in the book there. I'm currently reading this book. It is really good, and I actually have now 3 copies of this book. I have the US hardcover edition, I have the Australian paperback edition, and I have the Australian ARC edition. So that's really cool, and I have a signed edition as well, so that's really fun. And the other one is P.S. I Like You by Cassie West. Again, a letter from her, but also a signed book plate that I stuck in here. So I mean, that still counts, right? Doesn't it? It still counts. I still have not read this book yet. I haven't read anything by Cassie West yet, but I feel like I'm going to love her books when I start reading them. And I'm going to try and save these books for over the summer. I think these are very summery reads. The next 2 books were kindly sent to me for review from the authors, and they both came signed, which I thought was really nice, and I seriously have got to read these at some point, but I have not got around to it. The first one is Revenants, The Odyssey Home by Scott Kaufman, and it says to Victoria all the best. And this is a modern, a sort of modern retelling of Homer's The Odyssey, set during the Vietnam War and things like that, and I really need to read it, so hopefully I will maybe get to it this year, but I'm probably thinking in the new year at the rate I'm going with my reading at the moment. The other one is A Light in the Desert by Anne Montgomery. There it is there. And this is about, where is it, the Amtrak Sunset Limited passenger train that was en route from Los Angeles to somewhere in Arizona, I think. Well, it was in the Arizona desert that it was derailed, and I don't know if everyone survived. Anyway, that's a real event, and this is sort of looking at that and looking at some of the passengers that were on it and things that happened. Anyway, everything about this sounds really interesting, and I'm hopefully going to get to this one soon. The next book is another one that I got in a subscription box that was signed, and that is Words in Deep Blue by Kath Crowley. I got this in a YA Chronicles box, and again there is a signed book plate in it, so that's really cool. This is, I'm not entirely sure what this is about, to be honest, but it's a love story kind of thing set in a bookshop, or a secondhand bookshop, I think. And so that should be really interesting. I've heard really great things about it, hoping to get to it eventually. Next book I got is one that I'd forgotten I had, and that I'd even forgotten was really signed to me, so it's my book, although my mum bought it, and I'm probably not going to read it anytime soon. And that is Caps, Hats and Helmets, Cricket's a Funny Game by Max Walker. The reason why I dug this out is because recently Max Walker sadly passed away from cancer, I want to say. I can't remember, I'm so sorry. But it made me realize that I've actually met Max. I listened to him give a talk, and it was so interesting and funny, and I'm not a fan of cricket. I think it is such a, not a weird sport, but I just don't like it. I don't know why people love it so much. And although he was talking about cricket and things that have happened, it was still funny. I could still understand what he was talking about, and it was just, he's a really great speaker, and I'm so lucky that I managed to meet him and listen to him speak. Anyway, it was actually 6 years ago, and I picked up his book, and he wrote Victoria, I love Max Walker in it, and when I found out that he died, I was kind of sad, and I dug this out remembering that we had it, so I've added this to my bookshelf and to my signed book collection. and hopefully I will get to read it. But like I say, I'm not really a fan of cricket, but I think it'd still be an interesting read anyway. The next one is another one that I ordered signed, and it was through Amazon, which I was surprised that I could get and that it wouldn't break the bank, because in Australia, if you order something from Amazon, it's usually going to cost you a fortune in shipping, even if the item is really cheap. And anyway, I picked up Tania Bags by Tania Bags, and it has Tan written in the front of it, and I've actually already cooked something out of this, but I haven't cooked much. I've only cooked one thing, but I really like this book. It's such beautifully laid out, and I've actually got 2 copies of this book because apparently there are some misprintings in here. I think probably for the quantities, I'm not quite sure, but Amazon sent me another book as well, so I like that because I can have the unsigned copy in the kitchen getting all dirty, and I can have this one just sitting on my bookshelf in here looking all pretty and signed. So I'm so glad I got this signed because I love Tania, and she's actually the first YouTuber that I've got a signed book from, so that's really exciting. The next book is one that I won in a library thing giveaway, and it's actually the second book in a series. I entered the giveaway for both the first and second book, and I managed to win the second one, which is great, but I mean I still have to now go out and pick up the first. But anyway, that is Dying by the Hour by Cory M Shrum, and it came signed saying for Victoria. I think that says thanks for playing, Cory M Shrum, and it also came with a signed card, which is signed, which is of the first 2 books, which is the first one's Dying for the Living, so that part signed, and then that second one signed. And this is the second book in the Jessie Sullivan series, and from what I can gather, it's about this girl Jessie who she just continues to die. She can survive death as a replacement agent, and so this one is about her trying to save this girl Ali Gallagher and things like that. It sounds really amazing. I just desperately need to go out and get the first book so that I can finally read this series and see if it's any good as I think it's going to be. The next book is the Time Team Dig book by Tim Taylor. Tim Taylor is the creator and producer of Time Team, and I love Time Team. I've pretty much watched every single episode. And I just love it so much, especially being interested in history and the history of the UK. It's just something I really love, and I signed up for the Time Team website thingy, and you got like exclusive behind the scenes stuff and things like that. And if I lived in the UK, I could take advantage of like the reduced tickets for digs and things like that. But it also came with a signed book signed by Tim, which I thought was really cool. I still haven't read this, and I have quite a few Time Team books that I've been meaning to get to, but I'm just excited, and I think for the most part this is just going to be fun to go through and look at all the pictures. Finally, not a book, but it's mainly because the book I own is a digital copy, but still something signed by the author that hopefully one day when I do get a physical copy of the book, whenever that's going to be, I can stick it in, and that is Gabriela Lepore, the author of Secrets in Phoenix, and this was done through Of Tomes Publishing. If you pre-ordered the book Secrets in Phoenix, or if you just purchased it, you could get one of these. So I'm so excited that I have this, as well as a bookmark it came with. So when I do eventually get the physical book, which I don't know when that's going to be, because as I said, it is so crazy shipping on Amazon to Australia, but hopefully one day I'll get around to getting it and I can stick this on it. And this is again another book that I have not read yet. I've started it, but I just can never really get into reading Kindle copies. I can just never really get into reading ebooks. I don't know why, but yeah, hopefully I'll get to it soon and get it read. So they are all the signed books in my collection as of right now, and I'm sure I'll probably end up doing another video like this in the future. Maybe I'll try and do one every year, at the end of every year, because like I said, I am getting a signed copy of Gemina, and I'm sure I'll probably acquire some more signed books during next year. And although I didn't get to meet many of these authors, it's still great to have a book signed by them in my collection, especially if I really enjoy that book. It just makes it so much more special and such more of a collector's item. So I'm really happy that I have all these books in my collection. Please don't take this video, by the way, as like me bragging about the books that I own and the fact that I've got some signed, the fact that I've met some authors. Totally not what this is. It's just me sharing some of my favourite books in my collection that just happen to be signed. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you photographs that I have in my collection. Again, not a bragging